Welcome to the 2022 doctoral hooding ceremony for the Johns Hopkins School of Education. A long time in coming. I am Hunter Gelbach, Vice Dean of Academic Affairs, and I'm pleased to be your Master of Ceremonies. Now, because we're not on a Zoom call and you can't just mute, you actually have to turn your cell phones off while we stand for our national anthem, sung by School of Education staff member and 2019 Peabody graduate, Henry Hubbard.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we held at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Thank you so much, Henry. It's a pleasure to hear you in person. The pre-recorded national anthems were great, but they just don't compare to hearing you in person. Families, friends, faculty, staff, alumni, and guests. This year's event brings together doctoral candidates and doctoral alumni from the past 3 years, including many of those who could not, until today, celebrate with us in person. Please join me in giving a warm welcome to the Johns Hopkins School of Education PhD and EDD graduates of 2020, 2021, and 2022. Now, before we get started, I would like to set the record straight on one thing. In some of the pre-graduation activities, I had the pleasure of meeting a family member of one of our graduates who, at about age 4, was wondering, how smart do you have to be to get a graduation from Johns Hopkins? I'll say this, given that all these doctorates that these are all doctorates from the School of Education, I think we can safely say that they are the most educated students graduating from any division at Hopkins. Yeah. But you don't have to take my word for it. I have data. As you probably know, our doctorates spend a substantial portion of their training on a dissertation. So let me give you a quick, simple taste of how impressive these works are. I picked a single dissertation title at random, and this will give you a little sense. A mixed method study of professional learning program to close student opportunity gaps, to strengthen military child school readiness, to explore non-technical skills and their impact on workplace behavior, to assess social belonging and middle school mathematics performance, to equip English language learner teachers for culturally and linguistically responsive early literacy instruction, and to figure out what math's good for, what can I do with it, and why do I even care, All right, maybe that was a little closer to like a half dozen dissertation titles and a couple more colons than we actually usually permit in our dissertation titles. But it does give you a flavor of what I find so valuable and impressive about the work of our students. They tackle issues that genuinely matter in the real world, issues that will make a difference for the students and teachers who've battled through 2.5 years of the toughest that our education system has ever known. Our students are looking at issues like diversity, equity, and inclusion, career training, English fluency, our fundamental psychological need for social connectedness and belonging. None of these issues are easy to study, but they're essential for us to get right as educators. Furthermore, they often tackle these pressing issues not through taking the path of least resistance, but by rather taking the path that is most impactful, often by combining the wisdom from multiple disciplines, using multiple research methodologies, and trying to communicate their work to multiple audiences. I know we're still working on this last part about the communication to multiple audiences a little bit, because someone else outside that I was talking to before the ceremony asked me very politely, how do you ask politely about someone's dissertation without hearing all the details? But we're all learning, we'll get there. If you'll indulge me, I'd love for us to collectively appreciate just one more characteristic of these amazing students and the work they've produced. We really are working on the world's educational problems here at Hopkins. Represented here this afternoon are regions of study from Azerbaijan to rural Alaska to sub-Saharan Africa, from the Arabian Gulf to the Mississippi Delta to the Dominican Republic. With that, I hope I've whetted your appetites for the impressive work that you're about to see celebrated, and also to give you a little sense of hope and optimism for the future of education in this country and worldwide. Though the problems are daunting, we are unleashing some incredible expertise in the form of these newly minted PhDs and EDDs. And now, it's my pleasure to turn the lectern over to Dr. Christopher Morphew, Dean of the Johns Hopkins School of Education.
My mother was a third grade teacher for 30 years, and she would not approve of that colon there, I'm sure. So thank you, Hunter. You know, as dean, graduation is my favorite time of the year, and this is one of my favorite events. And I'm so gratified that we have made it through and are gathered here in person to honor our doctoral candidates and graduates and to celebrate your hard work and your achievement. And I do want to let family and friends that are with us today know that this is a time for celebration. There are at least two different kinds of people in the world: those who believe that graduation should be somber experiences with nary a congratulations shouted out. I do not subscribe to that notion. This should be a celebration. So yes, decorum of course, but let's celebrate. Let's have a great time. Let's acknowledge the work that these... All right, so permission to have fun granted, okay? I also want to celebrate not just the doctoral candidates who have done incredible work, as Hunter was saying to you, but also the folks that have really made this day possible for our graduates, your families and friends. Spouses, partners, parents, kids, roommates, colleagues, amigos, people who have stood beside you, people who have stood behind you, people who have pushed you when you needed to be pushed, perhaps restrained you when you needed to be restrained. The people in this room who kept things going during these busy, busy times and during the emergency that we've all been through. They lit a fire underneath you, and I want to make sure that we acknowledge everyone in the room who's contributed to this. So let's just take a moment. Let's hear it for those people, doctoral candidates and graduates. Please show your appreciation. also want to echo, I also want to echo something Hunter pointed out. One thing that strikes me beyond the range of your scholarly inquiry is the relevance of your scholarly inquiry and the work you're doing. Your work supports culturally and linguistically diverse students. Your work identifies equitable classroom practices. It improves awareness of student and educator mental health, which has taken a real toll during this pandemic. And it connects childhood trauma with teacher attrition. The list of this work could go on, but what is particularly important about this, as I said, is the relevance. I don't think any of you are doing this work to be on the winning side of some sort of political discourse. You are taking on challenges like these because you know they have deep repercussions for today's learners and for those who need us most in classrooms, in communities throughout this country. You can prove it, and these things matter. You know, schooling matters, and if there's anything we've learned during this pandemic, it's the importance of schools as touchstones, as fulcrums, as centerpieces in our communities. As our wise colleague, Dr. David Steiner, has said, almost every major issue presents itself sooner or later at the schoolhouse door. And this is why your training is so important. The rigor, the solid grounding in methods, the exposure to colleagues with a wide range of perspectives, the reality checking from professors who, when they do their reality checks, can hit pretty hard, I'm told. That experience is important because the challenges in education aren't getting easier and they aren't going away. And finding real solutions to improving the lives of school children and the lives of those seeking out counseling for mental health, that's more important than it's ever been before. So thank you. Thank you for your persistence. Thank you for your intelligence. Thank you for your best efforts. Heck, thank you for your colons. On behalf of the faculty at the Johns Hopkins School of Education, congratulations on your arrival at this day. I am deeply proud of every single one of you. It is now my pleasure to introduce one of my favorite alumna, Dr. Rhonda Reese, who will present a special award from the Johns Hopkins Alumni Association. A 2002 master's degree graduate of the School of Education, Rhonda serves very admirably and forcefully on the Johns Hopkins Alumni Council and is herself a 2018 recipient of the Alumni Association Award for Distinguished Government Service. Rhonda?
Thank you, Dean. My favorite dean. Good afternoon, everyone. It is my pleasure and privilege to bring you warm greetings from the more than 23,000 alumni of the Johns Hopkins School of Education and the nearly 250,000 Johns Hopkins University alums around the world. In a minute, I will give an award to one of them, a doctoral alumnus of Johns Hopkins who crosses divisional lines and is an exemplary colleague of yours. You are now a member of a very elite group of Johns Hopkins alumni. There are just over 18,000 doctoral graduates from the university and just 434 have doctorates from the School of Education. I hope, yes, I hope you will stay in touch and continue to be a part of this amazing community. Congratulations on achieving this significant milestone. I know you will represent us well. It is now my pleasure to present the Alumni Association's Global Achievement Award, which honors alumni who epitomize the Johns Hopkins tradition of excellence and have brought credit to the university and their profession in the international arena through their professional achievements or humanitarian service. Dr. William G. Durden, will you please join me at the podium? Dr. Durden earned this distinction in every way. He has spent his career advocating education on the international stage. The first member of his family to attend college, Bill earned his BA from Dickerson College with a transformative year abroad in Germany and was selected as a Fulbright Scholar. After earning his master's and doctoral degrees at Johns Hopkins, he joined the JHU faculty as a professor. He was the founding director of the Johns Hopkins Center for Talented Youth, while also serving as a senior education consultant to the U.S. Department of State. He went on to serve as president of his alma mater, Dickerson College, for 14 years and was the founding dean of the School of Business and Entrepreneurship at Bath Spa University in the UK. During this time, he has held a joint research professorship at the Johns Hopkins School of Education and served as Chief Global Engagement Officer for Shorelight Education. As president of the International University Alliance, he heads a global network of higher education institutions collaborating to build opportunities for students, schools, and governments. On behalf of the Johns Hopkins Alumni Association, I am pleased to present the Global Achievement Award to a man who has helped countless students broaden their perspectives and explore new directions. Dr. William G. Durden.
Thank you so much, Rhonda. Now we have arrived at the tradition of hooding our doctoral candidates. I'm proud to introduce Dr. Amy Shelton, Associate Dean for Research at the School of Education, who will get these festivities started for our candidates, who will be awarded the Doctor of Philosophy and Doctor of Education degrees. Names of the candidates will be read by Associate Professors Yolanda Abel, Chair of the Department of Advanced Studies in Education, and Laura Flores-Shaw, incoming Interim Director of the Doctor of Education program.
Good afternoon. We're thrilled to share this tradition of hooding the doctoral candidates at the graduation exercises so that all of you can share in their accomplishment. The doctoral degree is a combination of many years of hard work, rigorous and exhaustive examination, and intense commitment to investigating solutions to problems plaguing our educational system. Faculty advisors have spent many hours with their individual doctoral candidates, encouraging, advising, and browbeating them across the finish line. This event signifies both a scholarly and a personal achievement. Therefore, each faculty advisor or advisors will hood their candidate, symbolizing the passing from student to master. At this time, the first row of doctoral candidates will stand, and faculty, please stand as well. I'll read the name of the doctoral candidate and their advisor, and you may follow along in your program booklet for their dissertation titles. First, the Doctor of Philosophy candidates. Soo-Yeon Byun. hooded by Lini Zhang. Ashley Ann Grant, hooded by Martha MacGyver. Tristan Han, hooded by Martha MacGyver. Crystal L. Spring, hooded by Marcy Davis. Nathaniel Dewey, hooded by Mark Stein. Now, the Doctor of Education candidates, announced by my colleagues, Dr. Yolanda Abel and Dr. Laura Flores Shaw.
Ray Limer, hooded by Amy Shelton. Congrats. Rebecca Barnes, hooded by Camille Bryant. Naja S. Henry, hooded by Camille Bryant. Stephanie Scholes, hooded by Camille Bryant. Abigail Lovett Udine, hooded by Camille Bryant. Bradley Brock, hooded by Christine Eccles. Pull it down. Elena Hayes, hooded by Camille Bryant. Brent Ashley Jones, hooded by Christine Eccles. Yeah. Haya Ahmad Mijed, hooded by Christine Eccles. Congrats. Rudy Ruiz II, hooded by Chris Devers. Erin Marie Avery Browder, hooded by Chrissy Ife. Erica Carswell, hooded by Chrissy Ife. Congrats. Aaron Comiskey, hooded by Chrissy Ife. Nancy Jane Newton, hooded by Chrissy Ife. Clifford J. Cooper Jr., hooded by Deborah Karen. Tamara J. Chella, hooded by Elizabeth Todd Brown. Congrats. Christine Cheeseman, hooded by Elizabeth Todd Brown. Brielle Kachilik, hooded by Elizabeth Todd Brown. Congrats. Gayatri Nuru Singh Pajarowski, hooded by Elizabeth Todd Brown. Congrats. Dacia F. Sewell, hooded by Elizabeth Todd Brown. Congrats. Alexander Tejan, hooded by Elizabeth Todd Brown. Alice Waldron, hooded by Elizabeth Todd Brown. Elaine Young, hooded by Elizabeth Todd Brown. Haley R. Harbaugh, hooded by Emily Jones. Valentine Burr, hooded by Eric Rice. Congrats. Lisa Mitchell, hooded by Eric Rice. Casey Lynn Sherman, hooded by Eric Rice. Congrats. Raquel Daly, hooded by Henry Smith. How you doing? Yesenia Dudley, hooded by Henry Smith. Congrats. Marcia Suyin Hu, hooded by Henry Smith. Denise Nsiong, hooded by Henry Smith. Congrats. Carrie Judd Miller, hooded by Henry Smith. Patricia J. Shaws, hooded by Henry Smith. Congrats. Allie Williams, hooded by Henry Smith. Jessica Catherine Albrint, hooded by Honorine Nacone. Congrats. Noel Emilius, hooded by Honorine Nacone. Please give us a moment while my colleague Laura Shaw comes to the lectern to continue reading the names. Thank you.
Crystal Newby. Brianne Ruse. Sharish Jairaj Lala. Asarat Dakobo. Jean Marie Hampel. Carol M. Arrington English, hooded by Karen Karp. Paula Clark, hooded by Karen Karp. Jeffrey Golubchik, hooded by Karen Karp. Kevin Kendrick, hooded by Karen Karp. Dungchung Lee, hooded by Karen Karp. Amanda Louise Brewster Palmer, hooded by Karen Karp. Dustin S. Whitlock, hooded by Karen Karp. Nancy Z. Wan Ha, hooded by Lini Jian. Laura Noreen Perkins Papali, hooded by Lini Jian. Alicia Couch, hooded by Marcy Davis. Caitlin Moore, hooded by Marcy Davis. Jennifer Timmer, hooded by Marcy Davis. Anna Varela Greif, hooded by Mary Beth First. Courtney Udigan Ticey, hooded by Nick Michelli. He's coming. Blanca Moon, hooded by Nick Michelli. Kanita T. Williams, hooded by Nick Michelli. Teresa Caswell, hooded by Rajini Jambul. Laura K. Ohanian, hooded by Ranjini Janbul. Darcy L. Tavalt, hooded by Ranjini Janbul. Sarah Buck, hooded by Stephen Pate. Benjamin Clemens, hooded by Stephen Pape. Walter Eric Nordstrom, hooded by Stephen Pape. Robert Walker, hooded by Stephen Pape. Melissa Armstrong, hooded by Tamara Martyr. Heather Lee Whiteside, hooded by Tamara Martyr. Joshua Pinto Taylor, hooded by Wendy Osefo. Violet Ford, hooded by Yolanda Abel. Tara Storm, hooded by Yolanda Abel. Taquana Williams, hooded by Yolanda Abel.
Now, please join me in congratulating all of our doctoral candidates on this outstanding accomplishment.
So excellent job on the celebrating, folks. Good job. So families, friends, faculty, staff, alumni, and guests, I present to you the Johns Hopkins School of Education's Doctor of Philosophy and Doctor of Education cohorts for the classes of 2020, 2021, and 2022. Doctors, and I hope you get used to that, on behalf of the School of Education, I wish you every success. I hope to see you and your families and friends at the reception immediately following this event right outside on Wyman Quad. Again, thank you and congratulations. Everyone up, and then I think we're out this way. Better organized rides.
Yeah, that was not well executed. No, they should have held them and let us get out. Yep, they should have made an announcement to say, like, do stay seated or back to
All right. Pandemonium. Yeah, well, I want to work up to
Stephen Duffy.